All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 7 reasons why you can't lose weight. If you've ever struggled with being overweight or you know someone who has, this is the solution. It can change your life. I know because this approach has changed so many lives already, and I'm going to introduce you to some of those people. I'm looking forward to having you meet them. I've got a lot to share with you today, so I want to make sure you're comfortable. Go ahead and shut off those phones, turn off those ringers, and please take notes. We've got a lot of material to cover, and I want to make sure you get it all down. Of course, if you're attending by webinar today, you'll be able to replay this event. Either way, what matters is that we cover the reasons why you haven't been able to lose weight, so you can learn how you will lose weight. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Bikram Dhillon. I'm a board-certified medical physician and a functional medicine doctor. I'm also an author, speaker, and executive wellness coach at Physicians Total Wellness in Schaumburg, Illinois. On the personal side, I'm married to my wonderful wife, Krishleen, and have 3 daughters who continue to inspire me and to surprise me, mostly in good ways. We love to travel and to hike. We love to explore different foods and different cultures. So you see, it's easy for me to relate to my patients when it comes to food. We have an awesome dog, Coda, who reminds us every day that life is to be lived. I practice and teach yoga. In fact, I'm an avid learner and a teacher at heart. I love the process of learning and teaching and had the opportunity to explore that deeply in my first book, The Diamond Rule. Mostly though, I love the work we do at PTWOW Weight Loss Solutions. I founded PTWOW in 2010 because I was sick and tired of watching my patients suffer from the problems caused by needless weight gain. Over 25 years of practice as an emergency physician, the number of heart attacks, strokes, cases of cancer and diabetes I saw was staggering. I knew that much of that could have been prevented. And I know that much of it can be prevented today. I know that you can dramatically increase your ability to live a long, healthy life and to decrease your chances of having these problems in your life and in the lives of your family members. But it can only be done by taking action. So what's missing? What is it that keeps you from losing that extra weight? What keeps those needless, disease-causing extra pounds on you, no matter what you do? Why does the weight come right back on after you've worked so hard to take it off? All these questions demand an answer. These are the questions that you and I are going to be talking about today. They're the questions we need to answer if we're going to get to a solution, because solving a problem starts with knowing why you have that problem. If you want to lose weight, then you have to know why you can't lose weight. Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you the 7 reasons why you can't lose weight. Once you know those 7 reasons, we'll look at what you can do about them. At the end of our discussion today, you'll know what's holding you back, and you'll know what to do about it. In fact, at the end of this event, I'm going to give you a gift. That gift is going to allow you to put these 7 reasons to work for you rather than having them work against you. It's my gift to you for participating today. And I know it's going to help you get to the weight loss goal you have for yourself. But before we get going on this journey, I'd like you to meet a couple of people who actually put these principles to work for themselves and to hear from them what the journey is like.
I'm Barb. I'm a PTWOW member, and I'm doing things a lot differently than I've ever done them before. I'm looking not just at total weight, but I'm looking at what part of my body is made up of fat, what part of my body is made up of muscles. And as I'm able to, just even a really short period of time, a little over a month, gosh, I've lost over 7 pounds of fat, I've gained over 4 pounds of muscle, and my body mass, or my fat percentage, that I found out through this integration, my fat percentage has gone down almost 4 percentage points. I've never had that information before, and I've never realized how so many pieces are involved. It's not just about the food, but it's also about making sure I have the right nutrients and that I have the right supplements to support what I'm doing. And I'm also trying to make sure that all of those pieces come together, but it's really easy here because it's all been figured out for me ahead of time. And now I'm just making a lifestyle that's based on losing fat and building muscle and knowing exactly how much I've done with that. So it's very different than anything I've ever done before, and it's been very helpful to me to understand not just what the weight scale says, but my body mass composition and how that's going to affect me in the long run and be able to keep the weight off and not just yo-yo through something. So I really appreciated the ease that PTWOW has given me, how easy it is to just pull together these pieces. The work's been done, and I just got the luxury of being able to utilize it. So it's been really a great journey. I've only been on it for a little bit of time, but I'm looking forward to a nice, healthy, long life with it.
Hi, my name is Brian King, and I'm very proud to say that you're seeing a lot less of me these days. 24 pounds less, in fact. I spent the past 20 years or so yo-yo dieting. I tried some plans on my own, I'd read the books, I'd go to the weight loss centers, but I'd always gain the weight back. And for maybe the past 10 years or so, I pretty much gave up. I resigned myself to living a heavy life. Then I met Dr. Bikram Dhillon. And I figured, why not just give it a shot? Let's see if this guy's different. I'd heard so many wonderful things about him. My first meeting with him proved it to me. The information he shared with me, the knowledge he has, is more comprehensive than anything I'd ever encountered. He did blood tests. He got to know me as a person. He got to know my entire history. He didn't just ask me, how much weight do you want to lose and what bars do you want to eat? He got to know me. He constructed a diet plan for my body, for my metabolism. And most importantly, he prepared me to maintain the weight loss long term. So this is a plan for the rest of my life. It's not just a plan to get me down to my weight and then say, goodbye, see you later, thanks for your cash. So I can honestly see myself being a client of Dr. Dhillon's for a very long time. Because if I continue to get the results I've gotten so far, this is going to change my life for the better and for the long term.
All right. I always love to hear about how successful you can be when you put this process into action. We're going to dive into it right now. At the end, I'm sure you'll see why this is the fast, easy, and effective way to lose weight and to keep it off. Ready?
Here are the 7 reasons why you can't lose weight. The pieces of the puzzle that you've been missing in trying to lose weight. And so that we can turn those around and help you actually lose the weight that you want to lose. We're going to go through each one of these step by step. And we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at each one of the pieces, and we'll put it together at the very end. So jumping right in, let's go ahead and get to the first reason why you can't lose weight. The first reason is that you're not measuring what matters. Now, measuring what matters is about what you want to accomplish. You've generally, in weight loss efforts, tried to lose weight. That's why they call it weight loss. But what we want to do is we don't necessarily want to lose weight. We really want to accomplish what we set out for. We have to make sure that we're measuring what it is that we want to change. Now, I imagine that you don't want to necessarily lose some of the pieces that make you up. Now, your body is composed of muscle, bone, fat, tendons, ligaments, water, and organs. And what we're really looking at is you don't want to lose liver mass, or you don't want to lose muscle mass, certainly, and you don't want to fool yourself by simply losing water weight. What you really want to do is you want to lose fat. So why don't we just call it that? It's called fat loss. That's what you really want to lose. You don't want to lose muscle. If anything, you want to gain muscle. And so we want to make sure that we measure that. So really what we're looking at is measuring all of these pieces, measuring your muscle, measuring your fat, measuring your water specifically, so that we can make changes and we can monitor changes in all of those. The way that we do that is really, rather than using a scale, is to use a body composition machine. And we have one in the office. There are body composition machines that we can use that are portable. There are body composition machines that can get the job done. Certainly there are ranges of body composition machines, and how specific we want to get, how reliable they are is important. But consistency is also important. And so we want to make sure that we look at that. We want to make sure that we are looking at your fat as you lose it and your muscle as you maintain it or gain it, and also water as to track, to simply make sure that we're not fooling ourselves into thinking that we have fat loss when it's just water weight. Now, the other piece of the puzzle is going to be using that to track as you go, not simply to get a baseline, but to track and to also change the implementation that we have in the other pieces that we are going to talk about, so that we can adjust course if we need to, and we can verify that we're moving in the right direction if that's working out well for us. So it helps to keep us on course, and that's the important piece of measuring what matters, allowing us to identify what it is that we want to change. It's not weight, it's fat. The second reason that you can't lose weight is that you don't know your ins and outs. Now, what am I talking about when I mention ins and outs? What I'm really talking about is looking at the calories that you consume and the calories that you burn every day. The calories that you consume are largely unknown to you. You may have an idea of how many calories you consume, but you don't really know. And when we don't really have the data, then what happens is that we really can't rely on the adjustments that we're making to make a difference. So how do you really know what your ins are, what you are starting with? The way you know that is by doing a food log. And we do a 4-day food log in our practice. Always want to make sure that we are being as specific as possible so that we can look at the number of calories that are coming from fat, the number of calories that are coming from protein, from simple carbohydrates, from complex carbohydrates. And then also to look at the amount of vitamins that you're getting in your diet to make sure that we are looking at what might need to be adjusted or added as you go through the process of losing weight. If we're looking at calorie restriction, we want to make sure that we are supplying the pieces that might be missing from a diet that has larger caloric or calorie consumption. So looking specifically at your ins is definitely the beginning. But we also want to look at your outs. And what are your outs? Your outs are how many calories you burn in a given day without necessarily doing anything additional to what your usual routine is. It's something that we call the basal metabolic rate. It's known as the basal metabolic rate, or BMR for short. Now, how do we establish a BMR, or basal metabolic rate? We do that with your body composition machine. The body composition machine lets us look at both your basal metabolic rate as well as your fat, muscle, and water, as we saw before. Knowing your percent body fat allows us to establish goals in addition to knowing where you're currently at. We can look at studies of health that's correlated with particular levels of percent body fat and use that to help you establish your goal. Now, you can do this as well, but knowing what a healthy body fat is, a percent body fat is, roughly is below 20%. If you can get your percent body fat below 20%, you're in a relatively healthy situation. Now, we can get much more specific than that, but 20% is a great number to use in general to look at where you want to get with regards to percent body fat. It may not be ideal, but it's a great place to target for your initial efforts, and it's wonderful to be able to get there. We also can look at the muscle in different areas of your body when we're looking specifically at body composition. We can look at muscle in arms and legs and core, but that is something more specific than we necessarily need to get to for for weight loss itself. Weight loss, we're looking at that percent body fat, and that's the critical number. Number 3, you haven't checked your hormone levels. Now, why would your hormone levels keep you from losing fat? That may sound like a silly question, and I'm sure that most of you know that your hormone levels can be critically important with regards to losing fat. So why haven't you checked them is the question. Most frequent answer to that is that you don't have an opportunity to test them. Well, that's changing rapidly, and there are functional medicine physicians and integrative medicine doctors who test hormones almost routinely. Well, I know that we certainly test them in our practice, and it's something that I encourage you to know, because the big liability with not knowing your hormone levels is that you might be creating a problem for yourself or allowing a problem for yourself to persist that doesn't need to be the case. Without knowing your hormone levels, you don't know if there are roadblocks that are standing in your way that could be removed. You might exert a great deal of effort, a great deal of determination, a lot of willpower, but just never be able to lose that weight. If that's the case, and if that's the case for you, then I encourage you to make sure you check your hormone levels. Now, hormones are a huge area to cover, and it's really difficult to talk about all aspects of hormones because there are many, many different types of hormones. One of the reasons that the whole range of hormones really doesn't get as much attention as it really needs is that hormones and the responsibility for hormones within medicine is split up into different silos of treatment, or different areas of care. Your OBGYN may be monitoring your estrogen or progesterone if you're lucky. Very often, that doesn't even happen. If you have thyroid issues, that may be the purview of an endocrinologist. And if you're concerned about testosterone alone, there are certainly low T centers and urologists who will check for testosterone. But hormones are important not just in themselves, but in how they relate to one another. Any one of these hormones can cause an impediment, and many of them can contribute to weight gain that is hard to lose. Now, weight is hard to lose. Weight gain itself can be a result of an imbalance, either an excess or a decline in any number of hormones. And these hormones also change as you age. They change with illness. They change with certain medications. There are many things that can impact your hormone levels. But what's important to know is that without knowing your hormone levels, you will not have any insight into whether this is an impediment that makes it hard for you to lose weight. It's like running uphill rather than running downhill. We want to make weight loss easy for you. We want to make it fast, effective, and easy. And not knowing your hormone levels is one of the ways that you make it hard for yourself to lose weight. It's one of the 7 reasons that keeps you from losing weight. Number 4, you don't know your food allergies. How often have you had a reaction to food that may be very subtle? It may be bloating, it may be gas, it may be a rash. It may be that you don't even know that you've had a reaction to a particular food because you haven't connected them. Or it may be that you think you have a reaction to one food when you really have a reaction to another. I've seen numerous patients for whom the thought was that they had a gluten allergy. But when we did testing, they have no allergy to wheat, no allergy to gluten. I've seen numerous patients who have had an allergy or thought they had an allergy to a particular food. A patient who's had an allergy to gluten and has been on a gluten-free diet for years. But when we do testing, we find that there actually is no gluten allergy. There's no wheat allergy. What they do have is an allergy to milk. And since they've been consuming milk and wheat at the same time, or eating them in pastries or food that contains both, they presume they have one when they really have the other. And that can actually become both constraining and not address the underlying problem. So it's very, very important to know what food allergies you have. And the worst symptom that we have with food allergies is an anaphylactic reaction, a reaction where your throat closes up, where you can't breathe. This is something that we see with peanut allergies or nut allergies, and it is a devastating outcome that can be life-threatening and needs to be treated emergently. On the other end of the spectrum is a situation where you have no symptoms, and having no symptoms can be pretty devastating as well, because having no symptoms means you really don't know that there's something that needs to be addressed that's causing you problems. Now, what is it that needs to be addressed? Chronic exposure to low levels of allergens can contribute to inflammation. That inflammation can contribute to heart disease, stroke, diabetes, cognitive decline, and cancer. So it's not without risk. Having no symptoms does not mean that you are free from food allergies. Having no symptoms means that you may have a chronic exposure to allergens that are contributing to chronic diseases that you can avoid. Now, we want to make sure that you're avoiding whatever possible diseases you can avoid. We want to make sure that you're lowering the probability of heart attack, diabetes, stroke, cognitive decline, and cancer. And not knowing your food allergies is one of the ways that you put yourself at increased risk for all of these conditions. And it's one of the ways that you make it hard for yourself to lose weight, hard for yourself to lose fat. Are you getting enough of what you need? That's a really, really tough question because it's hard to know exactly what it is that you need. Now, with regards to fat loss, there are many, many things that you need that can help you get rid of fat more quickly. There are pieces that are missing from your diet. There are pieces that, even if you had a wonderful diet, would still be missing because the whole food system has changed to a point where you will be missing those unless you replete them. So there are pieces of supplementation, pieces of nutrition, pieces of diet that are missing for every one of us. And then there are pieces that are specific to each one of us. In our executive wellness program, we generally test for genetic predispositions to deficiencies. Now that's getting really, really specific, but that's giving us insight into what is likely to be deficient so that we can be even more proactive on what needs to be repleted. When we're talking about fat loss and we're talking about getting rid of unwanted fat, what we need to do is look not necessarily at genetic analysis, although that's helpful, but we need to look at what your body is already revealing about deficiencies in particular, and then we need to know what bodies, all of our bodies, are missing in terms of what we need in general. Both of those are important, and both of those are worth discussing. So when we look at how our food is grown, when we look at how our food is processed, when we look at how our food is genetically modified, every one of these pieces presents problems with regards to losing weight. And when we look at gluten content of our food, it has a role. When we look at pieces of omega-3 that may be missing, it has a role. When we look at other adjunctive treatments, such as supplementation, that can help us to lose weight, that has a role. So it is very, very important to know what it is that you're missing so that you can put back in what has been taken out. And then beyond that, it's important to know what is missing in terms of what you can do from a supplemental basis to help yourself lose weight. And it's important that these be coordinated and that they be integrated. That's work that we do every day, and it's work that you can start doing on your own. So I encourage you to educate yourself on supplementation. And when you need any assistance, we're always here to help you. But make sure that supplementation and proper supplementation is key. Now, there's one other piece that we really need to talk about with supplementation, and that's the quality of the supplements. Supplementation and supplements are not regulated to the same degree, anywhere near the same degree, as medication. So it's a problem to take supplementation that has insufficient amounts of the active ingredient that is necessary to get the job done. There has recently been criticism by the New York Attorney General on supplementation and concentrations of active ingredients in supplements provided by retailers such as GNC, Walgreens, and Walmart. Some of these studies found that there was as little as 21% of the active ingredient, or very little of the DNA that was consistent with the active ingredient in several supplements. And discussions have been undergoing with those manufacturers to correct this problem. The problem that we face is that we don't know where our supplements are at, and we don't know the quality of our supplements. Although there are many retail supplements that do have enough of the active ingredient, we find that to get this consistently, we need to use physician-only supplements. And the physician-only supplements that we use are supplements that have the active ingredient, they have the testing, and they have the standards that they have voluntarily met in order to achieve the level of supplementation that is written on the bottle. It's not just important that that supplementation be that of a proper strength when it's produced. It's important that it be of that strength when it arrives to you and when you ingest it. In addition, the way that you take supplementation can be critically important as well. Certain supplements need to be taken with food, certain supplements without food, certain supplements before food, and certain supplements after food. So there's a great deal of education that's important, and I encourage you to start on that right away. So both attention to the strength and the concentration of active ingredients, as well as toxins and the concentration of toxins or potential toxins in your supplements, is important if you want to make sure that you get enough of what you need and not get anything that you don't. So, speaking of toxins brings us to the sixth reason why you can't lose weight. When we ask, are you getting too much of this? Supplementation and toxins in supplements are one small part of the problem. The biggest part of the problem is toxicities that you and I encounter every day, and then toxins that you may be encountering that are specific to what it is that you do. Now, our daily exposure to toxins is huge, and it grows every year. That includes food that is vegetarian and vegan, as well as a general diet. We are exposed to toxins in our poultry, in our beef, in our pork, in our fish, but we're also being exposed to it on our vegetables, on our celery, and our lettuce, on our strawberries, and our apples. Toxins are really impossible for us to avoid. What we can do is minimize them. How do we minimize them? We look at the sources and we address each one. When we look at food, we try to eat, and I encourage you to eat organic as much as you possibly can, especially in the areas where there are high pesticide loads or high herbicide loads, high toxic loads. Even with eating organic, you're still going to encounter toxins in your food. You'll encounter them when you eat out. You'll encounter them when you eat at family events. You'll encounter them in any number of exposures that you'll have where you don't control the food that you're eating. But it's not just about what we eat. It's also what we drink. Drinking water has toxins that can be disruptive, and there are toxins that can be hormonally disruptive. There are toxins that include medications or fragments of medications. There are toxins that are specific to your particular water source, and there are toxins that are general. One of the most important places that we get toxins in our water is not from the water itself, but from the plastic bottles that water comes in. Those plastic bottles are produced from petroleum. Now, petroleum is the largest single source of hormonally active toxins that we are exposed to, and it is ubiquitous. It is everywhere, from the fertilizer on our fields to the plastic containers that we drink from, plastics that we use to wrap our food, plastics that go into nylon, into our clothing, into the upholstery in our homes. And it is really everywhere. We literally are surrounded by petroleum products. And these petroleum products have concentrated organic toxins that are released into the food and the water that we take in. When you drink from plastic water bottles, you are exposing yourself to hormonally active and hormonally disruptive toxins that reside in that water. How much of that exists in any particular container is up for debate, but there are toxins within water that has been stored for some time in containers, especially in situations where there's heat involved. So I encourage you to avoid drinking water from bottles that have a potential of having stored water in them for any extended period of time, or that have been exposed to heat that might liberate those toxins from them. But we also are exposed to toxins in all numbers of other areas, including thermal paper and receipts, household cleaners, fire retardants, beauty care, personal care, and medications. Then there are occupational exposures. So there are specific, and then there are general exposures that we have to toxins. The most important thing for us to do is to avoid toxins whenever we possibly can. But you cannot avoid all toxins. Toxins have been found in alligators in the Everglades, in foxes in the Arctic Circle in Russia. Toxins are everywhere. So we have to get rid of toxins. So detoxification is really a critical issue. How do we manage toxicity apart from avoiding it when we do have these toxins that are in our body? There are several ways to manage toxicity, and detoxification comes in several forms. We use detoxification regularly, and many of our patients find that it helps them to return to a situation of energy and a situation of revising habits, changing tastes, opportunities for moving forward in their weight loss that they don't encounter with other interventions to the same degree. So toxicity management and detoxification are two areas that we think are critically important. And those are areas that we can discuss with you as well. We're always available to help you with any of the pieces that we're talking about in this presentation. This brings us to the seventh and final reason why you can't lose weight. And that final reason is that you're not roughing it. Now, by roughing it, we mean roughage. And another name for roughage is fiber. Are you really getting enough fiber in your diet? Almost universally, the answer to that question is no. The amount of fiber that we consume in our diets has decreased tremendously over the last 100 years. And there are many repercussions of this, one of which is weight gain. Now, how does fiber or the lack of fiber contribute to weight gain, you might ask? Well, let's take a look at it. There are actually two different types of fiber. There's insoluble fiber, and then there's soluble fiber. Let's talk about insoluble fiber first. Insoluble fiber, as the name implies, is fiber that does not dissolve in water. So what does it do? It sits in your gut. It bulks up your stool. It helps you to have regular bowel movements. It increases the area in which healthy gut bacteria can live. And it also increases the surface area and the area in which toxins can be bound and then be eliminated. The list of high fiber foods is long, and we have to make sure that whenever we're looking at high fiber foods, we always balance it out with the ins and outs. So we want to make sure that we are not necessarily focusing strictly on fiber and not on the caloric intake that we are encountering. So for instance, even though nuts contain a significant amount of fiber, they also can carry a significant number of calories. Other high fiber foods such as green beans and cabbage, broccoli, green leafy vegetables contain fiber without bringing in the additional calories that we want to avoid. So it's important to balance out fiber with the caloric intake. That doesn't mean that there's no rule for nuts, but when you're on a lower calorie diet and we're trying to get to fat loss, nuts will not play very high or very prominently in what we're looking at accomplishing. So it's always important to remember that we are looking at an integrated plan, not a plan that just addresses one piece or the other. So insoluble fiber, again, critically important. You have a long list of foods that you can address and that you can focus on in order to get that insoluble fiber. What about the other type of fiber? Soluble fiber, as the name implies, dissolves in water. What it does is it creates a gel within your gut. That gel actually helps. It helps to reduce belly fat, helps to reduce the amount of bad cholesterol that you have, and it also helps to bind those toxins, to get those toxins out of your system. It's easy to find lists of fiber content for particular foods, and if you're looking for a specific source, there is a source cited in the book, The 7 Reasons Why You Can't Lose Weight. I invite you to take a look. But how much soluble fiber do you want to get in a day? Well, in one study, 10 grams of soluble fiber was found to reduce belly fat, which is the most dangerous type of fat, by about 3.5%. That's a pretty good guideline, but you don't need to be specific. And the amount of soluble fiber that you eat can be increased quite dramatically, and you'll find that it will often make you feel fuller and decrease that caloric intake by up to 10%. So it's a useful adjunct. I want to make sure that you address both soluble and insoluble fiber. Well, you might ask, how much soluble fiber should I get in a day? There are suggested amounts. For women under 50, the suggested amount is 25 grams of both soluble and insoluble fiber, and 21 grams if you're over 50. For men under the age of 50, you should try to get about 35 grams of soluble and insoluble fiber a day. A little bit less if you're over 50. Recommendations could go to 30 grams a day. That's both soluble and insoluble fiber. You can get more specific if you want and look at 14 grams for every 1,000 calories you consume. That's a good guideline. But the benefits are clear. A study that looked at reduction of belly fat with regards to soluble fiber found about a 3.5% decrease with 10 grams of soluble fiber consumption a day. Remember, that's soluble fiber, not soluble and insoluble fiber together. The numbers that I just gave you before that were for both soluble and insoluble fiber. So rough guidelines, and I think that they'll be helpful. So those are the 7 reasons why you can't lose weight. First reason is that you're not measuring what matters. The second is that you don't know your ins and outs. The third, that you don't know your hormone levels. The fourth, that you don't know your food allergies. And fifth is that you haven't addressed deficiencies. Sixth is that you have not really gotten rid of those toxins. And the seventh one is that you're not getting enough fiber. What do we want to do? Obviously, we want to reverse each one of these. The important thing is that we get those done together and that we get them done as soon as possible. These are not difficult. They're easy to do. They're readily available testing, and we have resources on our website that can help you with it. We have resources that can help you with your goal. It's important to get going right away, and so we want to make sure that there are no barriers in your way. These 7 reasons why you can't lose weight are meant to help you get to your goal quickly, easily, and sustainably. Again, let's measure what matters. Let's know your ins and outs. Let's know your hormone levels. Know your food allergies, address those deficiencies, get rid of those toxins, and get enough fiber. And when you've put that together, let us know how you're doing.
Well, I know that's a lot of information, and I'm so happy to be able to share it with you. But there is one last thing, and this is the most important of all. Remember that for your weight loss to be fast, easy, and effective, these pieces must be integrated. That's right. Doing one of them or 2 of them won't be nearly as effective. Let me ask you, how many diets have you tried? Did they work? If they did work, how long did they work before you were back to the same old problem? Why should this time be any different? I'll tell you why this time is going to be different. This time is going to be different because you're not going to just do 1 or 2 of these things. You're not going to make 1 or 2 changes. You're going to make a lot of changes. You're going to make the changes that we discussed today. That's the whole reason for going through the 7 reasons why you can't lose weight. You're going to do your best to put as many of them into practice as you can. I guarantee you that the combination of benefits will work better for you than any one change alone. Do your best to get them done, but don't feel badly if you need help, because this time is truly different. Now you've got help, and it's only a phone call or an email away. That help starts with PTWOW and the PTWOW website. We've got some great tools at PTWOW.com, including the Hormone Risk Assessment tool. This tool lets you screen yourself for hormone imbalance, letting you know if you're at low, moderate, or high risk. Simply answer the questions and we'll send you your results. If you want more detailed results, you can get them, and we can get them to you. We can even arrange for hormone testing for you from your home, and we can review those tests with you by phone or in person. Finally, we can even make arrangements to treat you for hormone imbalance that might not be present, that we may not have discovered before. We can support your efforts in all 7 of these areas that we've discussed, not just hormone balance. PTWOW members have access to educational videos that explore each of these areas in greater depth. If motivation is a problem, we can help. If accountability is a problem, we can help. if access to high quality tools that you need to get the job done, we can help. Getting the job done is our goal. We can help. Regardless of what you need to get the job done, we can get it done for you and get it done with you. We can help you get to the fat loss goals that you have for yourself. In fact, we can even help you define that goal. I hope that this event has been helpful and informative for you. I know that real measurements and real tools get real results. Your time is too valuable to waste on anything else. Besides, getting results that are fast, easy, and effective is a lot of fun. It's so much fun that I want to share with you the experience of a couple more of our members who inspire me with their determination and dedication, even if they do think it was easy.
Great. And how much weight have you lost altogether since you started?
I've lost 77 pounds, and somewhere along the way with hard work I've gained 10 pounds of muscle.
Wow, 77 pounds of fat and 10 pounds of muscle gained.
Yes.
That's great. And you've maintained this loss for how long? You've maintained that weight loss for how long?
About 3 to 4 years now.
Wow, that's great. And your energy, has it gone back to what it was before, or has it pretty much remained as high as it is now?
My energy, I was told I was like the Energizer Bunny, and I never stop and I don't sit down, so I've had to take a couple life lessons, just say, hey, slow down and take a little bit of time. For sitting down, relaxing, maybe grabbing a book or grabbing a quick television show that I haven't seen in a long time.
Is that what your experience of energy was before you made all these changes?
No, my energy level, I come home and just, I go to bed early, I sleep long, and didn't feel like everybody thinks that they're doing the best for their children, but didn't feel like I was doing the best for my children because I felt like I was tired and I just wasn't on the constant go like I am now with them. And it's all about my kids. It's all about my kids and being here for them. And you can't do it without your help. So.
It's great, Ava. You've made great changes. I congratulate you.
Thank you.
Wonderful job.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Will do. I would never want to go back there. So.
Hello, my name is Barry Schimmel, and I've been working with Dr. Bikram Dillon on my weight loss. Now, for many years, I'd go through this place in my life where I'd lose weight, I'd work out really hard, and then, I wouldn't pay attention. I'd be getting involved in family things, or working, vacations, going out to dinner with friends, business meetings, and I'd gain a lot of weight, and then I'd go and I'd lose 20 to 40 pounds. So dieting like that is just crazy, and I met Dr. Dillon, and he taught me, all about, how to do the right supplements, the right meals, something that lasts forever rather than back and forth. So I've really done a good job. In the last 6 weeks, I lost over 20 pounds, and I'm still looking to try to lose some more, another 20, and I'm going to keep you updated. But I highly recommend, giving Dr. Dillon a call if you're having these types of problems, because it is a fast, easy, forever solution.
So there you have it. If you want to get back to the health, energy, and appearance that you deserve, all you need to do is to address these 7 reasons why you can't lose weight. We can help you do that, and we can individualize a program so that it fits you and your situation. Now, I promised you a gift at the beginning of this event, and I want to share that gift with you now. I have reserved time for 10 phone interviews for the first 10 callers to our office after this event concludes. Our initial patient interviews are $99, so that's a $99 value for those first 10 callers. Don't call right now, though, because we're not done yet, and your phones should still be turned off. But once this live event is done, go ahead and make that call. So here's the number. It's 847-701-5447. 847-701-5447. But just in case you don't get in on one of those first 10 free phone call interviews, I want to let you know that you can still get a reduced price phone interview with me just for mentioning this book, in this video, this event. Those phone number interviews are just $49, so that's half off just for attending this event. Now, there are a limited number of these that I make available every week because access to the information and tools you need to get the job done is important to me and to my staff. It's why we do what we do. We're here to help you get the job done, but your determination and your dedication are essential. Just remember, asking for help is the first step in getting help. We'll take it from there. All right. It's been an honor and a pleasure to share this event with you. I hope you've gotten a lot of good information out of it. I'm looking forward to hearing from you about your experience in the program and the wonderful, wonderful sustainable results you're going to get. I'm Dr. Bikram Dhillon. Be healthy and be well.